Hey THL, how's it going? We are back after a week off with HearthCenter. As always, I am Donde, and I'm happy to be here. And I'm happy to have Lotus and Icon with me tonight, as usual. Guys, how's it going? Lotus, I'll start with you. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Donde. How are you doing?
I'm good as always, man. Icon, in a new location, new rustic location. How are you doing tonight?
Me and my log cabin are doing good, Dante. Happy to be here, man.
It's not actually a log cabin. I know. I thought it was at first, but it's funny. I just like the background. It's a little bit of cool flavor. So as always, we've got a ton of stuff for you tonight. Actually, you can see we've got a very full slate. We're going to be talking about the Legacy and Hero Power Rankings. They are the final ones for the regular season of the 13th edition of Legacy and 10th of Hero. As this is our 1 year anniversary show, we'll be talking about our favorite Hearth Center moments, both from our present and past team members of Hearth Center. Up to 3 giveaways tonight, so the rules there is we are definitely giving away a 15-pack bundle to one lucky viewer, and we might give away up to 2 more, and that's if we can get 50 viewers. So if your boys aren't watching yet, get them in here. I don't even care if they're in THL. They're eligible if they play Hearthstone for a pack bundle. So we'll do a random rank or two, just like we have in the past. That should be a fun little throwback. That might be Lotus's first time we do that. We'll talk about HS Battlegrounds because that was kind of the new hot topic that came out of BlizzCon. And of course, we will preview the playoffs in all the series tonight. So, Jammies, Lotus Knight face reveal stream. Jammies unfortunately had a last second issue that he could not make it. I'm very disappointed because I was all prepared. He told me he was only going to have voice anyway, and I was just going to make his icon just a humongous mustache. So I'm very disappointed that that didn't happen. So, you know. But yeah, we got plenty of stuff tonight. We're going to keep things moving because there's 17 topics. So what do you say we do some power rankings, guys?
Bet.
All right, so
Good.
Legacy.
Yeah, Lotus. I agree. Whoa, Lotus. I think that's too far. Wow, you're really gonna say that about R-Hat, the commissioner of THL? Oh my gosh. Lotus is just off the rails tonight, guys.
Yeah, he's
True.
lot of secret
True.
stuff in chat. So as always with Legacy, we will start with both the honorable mentions and the players, or in this case, player that dropped out of the top 15. And you'll see it is Myanodon is our sole member not finishing in the top 15 that was there. By the way, these are the previous ranks from last week. These were the unrevealed rankings as I completely spaced putting them on the blog. So where the rankings are is where you would have been had we had a show last week. But Catman, Copper Talon, Super Murloc, Icicles, and Honest Abe are just outside of the top 15. Yeah, this is, strong group of players here. 7-1, 6-2. These are players that just barely missed the top 10. So I know.
Byanodon.
Byanodon. Yeah, you like that?
That was awful.
You guys,
That's
I
bad.
keep the secrets from you guys, so I know that you get the genuine reaction when we go
That's
live.
good.
So I know, and Triss is already bringing up the 7-1, and I knew this was going to be a point of discussion. Catman was a little bit lower than most of the higher ranked players of the same record for the entirety of the season, and a lot of that was just not having like a signature win straight the schedule. It just stands to reason that the gold 1 seeds were stronger than the red 1 seeds tended to be. So, sorry, my editor. Wow, rude. You know I love you, bud. Guys, what do you think about this? Icon, I'll start with you. Anything, other than, I guess, Catman is the most common topic, but anything else you want to talk about here?
Catman seems reasonable, and I'll say that because I know that you look into who people play, and if you rated him that much lower, then it must have said a lot about the opponents that he played. And I think that if he were to play, if he had like an average strength of schedule or something, and if you moved him down that low, that would be a little bit more, I think, unreasonable. But I think that your willingness to put him that much farther down says a lot about what really happened this season, and I definitely, as we're talking about this, I'm definitely going to look into myself who he played to try and get a better idea of that, because it does seem like there is some legitimacy there. 5-3, definitely nothing to be ashamed of. There's a lot of people around that 5-3, 6-2 mark. Super Murloc definitely doing well for himself, and as well as Icicles with that rookie season. And I don't know, it just seemed like if you're one of these players, you're really happy that you had a great season.
Yeah, that's there's no shame in being just outside the top 10 in a series of 14 teams with 5 players plus subs. That's what 70 players. So
Right.
that's easily like the elite. So Lotus, what are your thoughts before we move to the top 10?
I might have said a few times in this show that gold 1 seeds have been a little bit stacked. And this just shows what I've said multiple times. It is just crazy. Completely insane. And yeah, these are all great players. Both Copper and Murloc had a great time in our team, and yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, definitely. You have been saying it all season that 1 seeds in gold are a much tougher slate than red, and not that I've disagreed with you, but yes, I do want to show you that your opinion is somewhat factual, and the statistics kind of bear that out when I did the power rankings this week. So yeah, let's. I was actually just kind of looking through the players that Catman had played just out of curiosity too again, and like some of the records, like the best player he played was this past week. It was Snake.
And Snake swept him
3-0. Yeah.
And then beyond that, we're looking at Inspire, Coles is good, but then the other one was
Not this season. Coles was only 3-3.
Oh right, yeah.
Right.
Coles had a rough season, and then what was there was one in the middle of that. I was Inspire. Base
was like
of Tap
best
West.
win of the season. Yeah. Base had a solid season at 5-3, and that was Catman's best win.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so let's talk top 10. When you can't find the correct icon, there we go. So while red does have the appearance at the top of the list, gold dominates the top 10 to finish out the season. So everybody here very deserving of only 2 in the top 10. Yes, only 2 reds. Everyone here deserving of their ranking. Dano 7-1, 21-9, passed comp in the final week of the season to just snake out that number 1 spot. So great season. Itachi, yeah, he ran right up the ladder. He went from off the rankings completely to a 7-1 season that resulted in a 3rd place finish. So yeah, he's a pretty good player. Shim Jim also 7-1, a fantastic legacy season. DeSharmo jumped into the top 10 this week. Daravis, these are all names that we all know. These are not players that surprise us in any way. Hat is the one outlier there at 5-3, but his strength schedule was so absurdly high that he still has a spot in the top 10. Avi at 8, Matty Ebbs at 9, and Direst Bear was the final jumper who came out of nowhere to get into the top 10 in the last week of the season. Lotus, what do you think about our top 10? First of all, as congrats to Dano, of course, but what about the other players here in the top 10?
Yeah, congrats to Dano. I think these are all players who had a great season. I will contest Hat as much as I like him. Great guy. I feel like we had actually the exact same record, and I don't think I deserve to be there, even though I did beat him. So I feel like that would be my one comment. Other than that, yeah, this sounds like a solid list. Avi had a great season. Darivis had an insane season. Shimjim as well. Shimjim was the best 1 seed in gold this season.
Yeah, that's right. Itachi was a 2, correct?
Yes.
Somehow, by some factor of math, he was a 2.
That's what happens when you put 2 550s on your team. Somebody's got to be the 2,
yes.
Right?
Also, he wasn't a 550 when we began.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, but it obviously with a 7-1 record did not take him long to get there, because I think he was like 525, 530 probably.
Yeah, and he's been 550 at like a half a dozen points in his DHL career. It just depends on where he's at the time.
I'm sure he's deep into the 550 plus range now after the season. So, congrats to him for having a solid season. Well, first of all, I say congrats to him, but also we have beef. So suck it, Itachi, only 3rd. Icon, what do you think about the top 10?
First of all, 2 out of my 3 losses were to Dano and Comp, so yeah, I mean, I don't know, if I'm gonna lose to somebody, man, might as well be the 7-1 dude. I will say, I had the pleasure of playing against Dano last week. He is I don't understand how he started out as a 5 seed. His level of play, it was really, really impressive, and just he played on like the level of like a 2 seed or something like that. He doesn't. I noticed like almost no mistakes from him. He just every time that I saw a line where I get from him where I was like, I'm scared if he does this, he would just notice it and take it every time. And I think that's incredibly impressive that he maintained that the entire season versus all of his opponents. And I think maybe probably one of the best rookie seasons and like under PR sort of players we've seen since F. Srirachi. I think he's really really underrated. I'm really glad that he did as well as he did. He's also a super sweet guy. Comp making a return to THL. That dude absolutely popped off. He's been in THL for a long time, but he had a lot of sweeps too. That dude when he wins, and then Itachi is where he should be. All the other players seem like they did really well for themselves as well. So.
Yeah, Comp did have a little bit of a stumble at the end of the season, starting 6-0, but 6-2, nothing to sneeze at. Dano, as you mentioned, did go from a 5 seed up to that 2 seed, which when I was going through and when I was looking at the All-Star lists and trying to figure out where everybody ranked for their seeds, I was just floored when I looked at current week and saw him in the 2 seed, and I was like, all right, based on the season, that makes sense. And then went back to week 1, I was like, what? Dude started as a 5? So yeah, unreal season. I believe Diamond. I believe it was week 1, if I'm not mistaken, when I was looking at it that he lost.
Yeah.
So
I will say I took him to 5 games, and he beat me in game 5 on 8 health in like an aggro mirror. So we came really close, but dude, he could play against any 1 seed, and I would think that he could take them to 5 games. That dude is really 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 impressive with what he's put out. Especially with like how low he started in his PR. Because what did he start at, like 100, like 150?
He started at 308.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. That's like a mid-range player, but like that's like Mako levels of like, what is that, like 4 to like 1? That's really crazy.
Yeah,
dude.
that was the team comp. Was Nulltown was the high at the 1 seed at 408, so everybody was only up within 100 PR at the start of the season. So yeah, they tried to go for the cluster, and it seemed to work for them. They're a playoff team, so shout out to them. And yeah, his loss was in week 1 to Mr. Shads. He got swept in week 1, so I think that happens to a lot of players. They come in THL, just kind of get their footing. The closed lists is a stumbling block for a lot of people, and then they figure it out. They know how to prep, and then they just take off, which is what we saw. So yeah, congrats to Dano.
Yeah, it definitely takes some time to adapt, but this is an amazing record.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's talk hero, because there's a whole other side of the equation here. And we will start off with the honorable mentions again. And also the players that dropped out. So our honorable mentions are Jammies at 5-3, Mr. Newt 5-3, Lotus at 5-2, Hockey Boys at 4-3, and the Chronic at 4-4. And just barely dropping out of the top 15. A couple, better records than the 4-3, 4-4, but a little bit weaker on the strength schedule. 2-star Mako, Sanguine, Desharmo, and Crackshot were all just on the cusp. So Lotus, congrats. Being in that top 15.
Thank you. It was a lot of work. Yeah.
It's tough. 5-2 is tough.
Yes. This was a really weird season for me, but yeah.
All right, Icon, how about you? What are you thinking here?
I'm biased, but there's a lot of saw dudes in contention for the All Stars. I'm really kind of biased because I coached them the whole season, but I'm really happy with like how a lot of their rookies turned out. Sanguine, for example, started out as somebody who had never played in THL before, and she ended up beating like Lawful Dog and Liquid Ox and stuff at the 2 seed in order to get them into playoffs. So I think that's really impressive. Hockey still maintaining his 4-3 despite not playing any Hearthstone. I don't know how he does it, but he's hanging on, man. He's still hanging on.
Yeah, when you're a good player, the skill stays even if you don't keep practicing. 4-3.
He's also playing the 4 seed, right?
That's true.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Former not GM, but what was it?
America's playoffs. He qualified for America's prelims, and
Yeah.
to 4 seed. There it is, time, and there it is.
Yep.
Bring you guys. We mentioned it a couple times, and now Tris also brought it up in chat. All Stars, the voting. If you have not voted yet, the voting is live. Please go to the Discord, check out the content section. Actually, it might just be in the general announcement section. Both Hero and Legacy are available. You may vote once, of course, for each. So please go do that. You have 2 weeks to do it, and might as well. It's fun. And you have pretty much no choice but to vote for Icon, basically, because it's basically him and one other person in his seed. So I expect a lot of protest abstentions from that section of the ballot.
Or vote for me. Maybe I'll do a face reveal. There won't be a face reveal.
Aw. I've never gone from as excited to as disappointed in like a short amount of time as that.
But still vote for me. It will be my first time playing on stream if you do.
All right, that's something we can all get behind. All right, so let's move on to the top 10 here.
Oh wait, are we campaigning for All Stars? Vote for me. Nobody else has a positive record in my seat in my division. Life is good, guys.
So I dropped out of the top spot.
Aw, I'm sorry. You're only 2 instead of 1. Oh.
It's still
Poor
I was
Donde.
number 1 all season. I couldn't hang on.
Oh. I'm crying at your 21 and 13 game win rate.
Crying.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I got passed by my teammates, so like, as far as I'm concerned, that could be worse. Rigged. I knew everyone was gonna say rigged. Anfall is the number 1 player this season, finishing 7-1, 23-11. So congrats to Anfall. Very, very well deserved. I finished number 2, unfortunately, as I got swept in the final week of the season. Really hate Rogue, which will come into play later, as no spoilers, but is 2's just clipping everything right now. He's just like clipping 30 seconds and just like uploading or just sending everything to the help email. So
Yeah.
2's finished 3rd at 6-1. Hey man, if you did not play the final week, you might have had a shot. Omzi did drop as well. We were both 7-0 going into week 8, and he fell to 7-1. Drops to 4. Snake, fantastic season, moves up from 9 to 5. Shiny Pants was an honorable mention, moves into 6th. Copper Talon just kind of lives in the top 10 in every series. He's 7th. Ron Mexico, an honorable mention from last week, moves to 8. Itachi, hey, guess what? He is here too, because he is also a very good player. And Smoke Salmon was a player that was like just outside the top 15 a lot of the weeks, and made it into the top 10 just to end the season. So another solid rookie campaign from a new player. Desharmo beat Snake apparently and wants us to know. Good job, Desharmo. You were
Good
close
job.
to the top 15, man. So, all right, Lotus, I'll start with you. Top 10 thoughts, mistakes, concerns.
If 2's didn't go to BlizzCon last week, he would be number 1. But he
and his pro team would be in playoffs, you know.
Gotta prioritize.
Yeah.
Buy the virtual ticket, not the real ticket.
Yeah. I'm very proud of our team. Kel's Good Boys did very well. And we're going to keep doing well this week. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, these are all great players. Snake has had a great time in THL. I'm very happy for Omzi and for all the 7-1s and 6-1s. I don't think there are any big surprises, but these are all solid players that did a great job this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2 losses, 3 at most on this list is very, very good seasons across the board. This is interesting because obviously we had a slightly shorter season in both Legacy and Hero than we normally do, since it's only 8 weeks because of the amount of teams that we had. So in the past, I think it's been upwards of like 9 or 10 weeks, which tends to get a little bit more separation from the records. You start to see obviously more variance as you get a longer season. So you got a lot of clustered players, both in game score and in record. Icon, what are your thoughts here on the top 10? Anything you'd like to add?
All of these top 10 players have like a really interesting story to them. Like it's just it's really cool that each one of them like even outside of just stats, has like their own really like interesting story. Like Smoke Salmon, for example, he's like he deceptively he's played in THL for quite a long time. He's a THL veteran. Recently made a comeback a la comp. Has made America's playoffs before. Quite under PR. He's like kind of flown under the radar. Itachi is Itachi, and I love him. Ron Mexico, another one of those players that could be considered for cross conference player the of the season. It's Omzi, man, Omzi. ATL had this big question mark of like, oh, like, can you perform without Alien Santa and binoculars? And they're like, nah, dude, we have Omzi. He's gonna go 7-1. And then obviously Donde breaking expectations as usual. And then we got my Suddude boys with Snake and Shiny Pants, like together with the 6-2. I'm everybody should be really proud of themselves, man. These are all like there's so much to talk about here, man. It's insane. Like 20-7 from twos, like that's a really, really insane game win rate. Like Anfall and Donda, you guys are because Anfall's on BIGs, no? So you guys are, yeah. So you got two of their team members together. Like it's just there's so much like cool here to look at. This one, even much more than Legacy, even stands out to me as just like an absolute wealth of like really interesting storylines coming out from like these top players.
One of the things that I am most interested in seeing as we go forward is Copper Talon obviously has had now back-to-back fantastic seasons in both Legacy and Hero, and his PR is creeping up there, and I think we're going to start to see him move into that. I think he's already a 4 seed, at least one of the series. I think we're going to start to see him in that 3 seed discussion shortly, and we'll see if he can make that leap to, I think a lot of people talk about how the 1 through 3 seed is a different beast than the 4 and 5 seed, and I think that will be a great test of where he is at in terms of, his THL career if he makes the jump to 3 seed and just keeps dominating.
See, you would think that, but his PR is still like 180, and I don't know how.
I thought
but
it was like 250 in one of them.
No, it might be Legacy, but no, he. I was checking his PR in Hero today, and I think he's still like 180 or something like that. And so he's.
Okay.
I don't know how he does it, but he's staying right where he can just absolutely destroy people season after season. So good for him, man.
Definitely. Well, before we move on, I will point out thank you to Desharmo for your 10th month consecutive sub. And if there's anybody out there who has not yet subbed, if you have Twitch Prime, it's free. It helps us continue to bring you new and exciting content and keeps the giveaways rolling because it keeps contributing to the old THL bank account, and then that we now have access to, thankfully. And now we are able to do more giveaways and more prizes for things. So it directly helps the series. I almost said the L word. And then it helps us just continue to expand and because people like free stuff. They just like free stuff. So do it. Subscribe and get free stuff. Potentially free stuff. Yes, love was the L word that I almost used, Maka. So now that we are done with the power rankings, we are going to talk about our favorite HearthCenter moments. So this is the celebration of 1 year of HearthCenter. It's like 1 plus-ish month extra over a year because I thought that we started in October, and I know it's already November, and it turns out we actually started in September, so I had this idea way too late. But it was kind of cool that the show kind of just kind of was not born out of nothing, but I started doing the power rankings just for the heck of it because it kind of stopped getting done, and then I was like, you know what, why don't we just do a show about that, because that would be cool, right? And then we've built everything around that as kind of the fulcrum of it, which has been a lot of fun. I know, Icon, you've been doing this now this is your second season. Lotus is your first season, and we've had a couple people who had been on pretty consistently. Mako was on was on for about half a season. Jammies was like an OG from like he was about a season and a half, 2 seasons, and then Markshire was sporadically in the last season and the first season as well. So we've had a lot of people kind of rotate through here, and I feel like everyone's had some good times, and just kind of want to reminisce a little bit about some funny events or just something that just sticks out to you. Icon, do you have anything in mind from the last year and a half, even if it wasn't something that involved you, just something that was a fun moment for you on HearthCenter?
Um, this is weird, but like the first thing that comes to mind is you with the Tom Brady edit, with like the picture that you have of like Brady surrounded by lightning or whatever. I don't know why. I don't know why that stands out to me of all things, but I just remember that.
It's funny you bring that up because that's something that Markshire also brought up. When I
Yeah.
asked him for like some funny stuff, he brought up me
Yeah.
putting Tom Brady into things that didn't really matter at all. Like it didn't relate to him. I just kind of edited him for like 6 weeks. So that
Yeah.
was he brought that up too. I think that's funny.
The wasn't there that I don't know if this might not have been directly HearthCenter really, but I know that we talked about it on HearthCenter. There was that week in Challenger where everything broke and it was just KD over every single bracket every single time, and KD was just playing himself in like a 16-man tournament or whatever. I
Yes.
thought that was pretty funny.
That was actually in Pro Series because he was he was a perma sub on my pro team, and then when I went to the page that day to look at it to get
Yeah.
screenshots and stuff, and it was just KD everywhere all the way down. So I just translated that onto the graphic for the show because I thought it was hilarious, and it was fixed by the time the show started, but it was fun. That's a good one. That is a good one. I like that. Lotus, what do you have for me?
So one moment, and since the time I've been here, I really enjoyed hearing your stories with Coles and all the duo stories. That was a very fun segment for me, both to do and to just be on.
Yeah, the duos was a fun segment. I kind of liked our expansion this season into more, not necessarily not Hearthstone related, but like more like interest pieces rather than just talking about THL itself. It definitely
Yeah.
gives us a little bit more,
Right.
a little bit more
The
of
deep journalism thing has been like really cool. I
yeah.
may be misremembering this, but didn't we have Mayan on for one episode where we
We
talked
did.
about like competitive
Mm-hmm.
integrity and stuff like that? I thought that was like there's just
Yes.
like really interesting stuff like that. I think this is like really fun.
And I want to continue with that, and I think as we go into next season, we will do more of that. We have so much THL related stuff right now that we kind of wanted to focus on that instead this time for this week. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a great direction to keep going. And anytime people have stuff they want to talk about, always open to suggestions. So that's always fun. Myanodon was on. He was on because he won the THL World Cup, which also has been one of my favorite things in THL so far. I thought that was such a cool
True.
off-season event.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have more of those. Um, I did want to. Marsha actually wrote something to me that he wanted me to read, so I'm going to read it verbatim. He said, "I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I knew this would be a great show. The second Donde pitched it in the content hub, in parentheses he put before you had any official role in content, right? And it's true actually. I was just like a duffer who was making content for THL at that point. He said, I'm happy I could be part of it, if only for a brief period of time. One of my favorite shows was the preseason predictions, probably 2 or 3 seasons ago, where I predicted what was probably a mathematically impossible number of people to be over in the over-under section, and we all derided each other's opinions despite having no evidence whatsoever. And whenever I would just throw up a couture of Tom Brady when it wasn't related at all to signify the start of a segment. So, oh, the audio isn't lining up with the mouth? Interesting. Well, maybe that's somebody else's favorite HearthCenter moment. I have to say, I think my my favorite moment was the fact that like I finally got to be number one this season, and I played the John Cena music. Uh, just because I'm so dumb. Like I was laughing the entire time thinking about doing that, and then of course I got to do it, and I just couldn't stop laughing while I was doing it because I'm a child and I don't care. It's fine. So lots of fun stuff. Uh, so, do you guys want to do a random rank for the evening or do a giveaway first? It's like I'm dubbed in a Chinese kung fu movie. Sorry. I don't know if there's anything I can do to fix that on the fly, unfortunately.
If we like speed restart Discord like our calls, does that work? Like I know that it'll make the
I
regions messed up for a second, but if we do that, do you think it gets better?
I don't think it does because it was giving me a little bit of a delay on OBS. I think it's an OBS issue right now.
Okay. At least you can edit text. We take those.
It's you gotta take what you can get. Let's go ahead and do the random rank first and give everybody one last chance to get in here We are not close to 50 viewers, so it looks like we're only gonna get the one giveaway tonight. But yeah, if somebody wants to shout it out in THL General, just to get anybody who wants to get involved, or if you guys want to keep it a secret, so that way it's fewer people involved in the raffle. But we'll do our random rank while we're waiting. And the random rank this evening, in keeping with the theme of historical, context and looking back at fun moments, we're looking back at the most annoying and frustrating cards in THL history. So, top 5 cards that were most complained about, most annoying, either personally or that you can recall has caused a rift in the community. Lotus, I know you live for this type of stuff. You live for the cards.
Yes.
So let me start with you. What are your top 5? Diamond, don't worry. We have more than one rank. Calm down. So go ahead and tell us what you think, Lotus.
So for number 5, I have to give it to the mad genius himself, Dr. Boom, who everyone loved because Warrior was everywhere and made games way longer than they had to be. Dr. Boom got also the point that he should have been nerfed so much faster than he was. Everyone knew he was going to be trouble for quite a while, and Blizzard just really didn't want to do that. The second card, I'll say number 4, should have been nerfed, but never got to it, which is Death Soccer Rexar. Everyone's favorite destroy control deck and card itself. So much fun making beasts, but also so much hatred losing to it. Next card, I'm going to say number 3 for me would be right now Mogul Flesh Shaper. Man, I hate that card. Every time it drops on the board, I lose the game, so it doesn't feel good.
I'm sorry, did you mean Harik the Bat?
Well, to me, it's more like Walking Fountain, but sure. Number 2 is just, it has to be the Caverns Below. The card has been nerfed so many times, it can't not be in the list. It's just one of those. And I will finish with a card that I hated for the longest time, even after it's been nerfed, and it still should have been again, which is Spreading Plague. Who didn't love just losing turn 6 or typically turn 4 to Druid?
Yeah, that's one that's not on my list, but it's definitely a very highly complained about card for sure. That was like a reason to ban Druid in your matches, that card alone.
Yes.
I like it. That's a good list. Icon, what are you thinking, bud?
So at number 5, I don't really have much reason for this. I'm pretty sure it was like a kind of a balanced card, but I don't think there have been many cards that have like made me feel as like frustrated as this when it it goes down, and that's Potion of Madness. I think that I think that was the card that I was the happiest that I've ever seen rotate, and it was just so frustrating as like an aggressive deck or like a deck that plays 2 attack minions to like you spend so much time like or like even as Priest, I think Priest mirrors were just awful with it because like you build it all up and then they get like Potion of Madness off of Potion Vendor or something like that, and then you're just done. And I don't know, that one was a bit rough. Let's see what else. So for 2, for 4 rather, I have UI. I think that UI is probably like one of the flashiest, most broken cards ever printed in Hearthstone, and the fact that Druid could run 2 was absolutely insane. And it didn't matter what Druid deck you had, you just put 2 in it, and it was just automatically really good. And it refilled their hand, and it gave them armor, and it gave them presence, and it removed I don't understand why that card existed. 3 for me is Void Lord. I think that I personally loved the card, but like playing against it felt really, really frustrating, like as an aggressive deck, when you're like, oh, I have to get through 9 health and all of my minions die to the 3 attack, and then that also spawns 3 Voidwalkers that really, like, taunts that spawn other taunts kind of suck. For 2, I would actually say Zephyrus in the current meta, because I think that whenever you see Zephyrus coming down for your opponent, you just know the game is going to give my opponent the perfect out right here, and there is nothing that I can do to avoid that. Zephyrus is just going to hand it to them, so that's unfortunate. And then for the last one, for number 1, I think I'm going to go with a really vintage one, Tuskar Totemic unnerfed. It was just incredibly high rolly. You could get anything. Sometimes you got the healing totem, and you're like, well, my aggro game is now over. And sometimes you got a totem golem, and you just won the game. And I think that was probably the peak of just stupid mid-range Hearthstone, and I don't think I ever want to see that era come back again. So that's my 5.
That's an interesting number 1. I think we'll see a lot of similarities here. If everyone was to make a list across the entirety of THL, we'd see a lot of similarities. But yeah, that's an interesting number 1 pick. I have actually, before I do mine, Markshire also provided his top 5 cards, and he was a little bit more specific. He had like actual reasons for things, and I'm gonna try to pull up a clip that he wanted me to show as well. So
I'm pretty sure as soon as like anybody reads out their list, everybody else is gonna go, oh yeah, I totally feel the same about that one, right?
Yeah,
because like there's just been so many across like Hearthstone. Like I could make 20 of these. Like Spreading Plague is huge. Like Gul'dan is one. Any of the a lot of the Death Knights, like Jaina. There's so many. There's so many where you can just.
I was focusing on more recent ones.
And maybe that's because there's like 500 cards per year that come out, and maybe it's because Hearthstone is unbalanced at times. I don't know which, but like it's definitely a combination of the two. So I assume that when Markshire's list is read out, we'll be like, oh, I remember this one. Oh.
Yeah.
Also,
it's true.
You're leaking your DMs, Dante.
I am leaking my DMs. I quick switched the screen because I messed up when I was trying to grab something. I told you I was going to try to play this clip.
Nice 4 and 5 seed, by the way. I definitely didn't know about that before.
Don't worry about it. Don't clip that.
Yeah.
Don't clip that.
I actually didn't know that was your 4 and 5. Like I knew the 1, 2, and 3, but that's not bad at all.
Let me get this clip up. So actually, before I get the clip up, let's go with his top 5. So Markshire's top 5 was Leroy for no specific reason because it's just Leroy and it finishes games. So we had he had I Know a Guy as number 4.
Oh, he asked that question in Sheep Chat if you saw it because he
someone.
Yeah. Because MMI destroyed somebody with Aeon. Yeah.
Yep. Acidic Swamp Ooze was because of Rebobson on Vonk in the finals. Juggler, he was going to try to dig up a clip for me, the Knife Juggler clip. But I know like Hat has complained, or not complained about it, but boasted about hitting the Leroy twice when someone played it into his juggler. So that was a good one. But the clip that he wanted to show was Ragnaros, the Fire Lord. Which, that do things.
Yes.
So I did get the clip here. And hopefully I won't keep busting up my DMs. Here we go. It is not centered, which is not my plan, but... There we go. Roll it.
You're doing it on the fly. It's not bad.
Not 1 and 14, just a 1 and 8 for the win here.
Oh boy, it may be salty weekends in the off season. Here we go.
You just gotta believe.
Rag is lining up his shot for 3. Oh! Whoa! What an 8! Woo! From way downtown.
Good times.
Oh my god, that's disgusting. I would quit THL after
and that's
that.
what makes it all-star in THL right there.
I won't say what,
He just
but
hit the
super
buzzer.
similar to this, and it was beautiful.
Oh.
The odds
I tried
low.
to do that versus Dano on our game where he had 8 health left and he had a taunt up, and I was playing Paladin with Ragnaros in it, and he was playing Hunter, and I was like, listen, I'm just going to take a 20% chance to win the game right now, and if I don't have that, then I just lose anyway, so it's whatever. But yeah, Rag is like one of the most enduring like ones for that too, you know? Like what with the
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
with
absolutely.
the 8 damage going everywhere.
I would say
Yeah.
like the modern day version, like not to say modern day version because Rag is in standard again briefly, but like the modern day version of that would be like the Holy Wrath pull Shrivala out of your deck from like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm about to die. I've used both timeouts. Here comes Shrivala.
Yeah.
Oh, I just rolled a 1 in
That's
13.
I rolled a 1 in 10 against Avi, and turn 8 killed him. Just
Yep.
done.
It
Oh
was
yeah,
force
Avi did
bacon.
that versus
Very
Snake,
amazing.
where he tried to make Ragnaros go face in order to BM him, and then Snake just beat him instead and won the week for us. That was in pro. That was the Rag
fun.
giveth and Rag taketh, man. We got a lot of Rag shots.
He taketh for sure.
Yeah, he mostly taketh actually.
So my top 5. There's a little personal anger in this, but number 5 is Kingsbane. That card sucks.
True.
When people would roll with that, like, and just get it, you know, because you got it typically either you just mulliganed into it or you caught the Cavern Shiny Finder and you just had it like in the first 2 or 3 turns. If you got the buffs for that in like the 5th or 6th turn, it was just over. Like you couldn't do anything.
You literally couldn't die because
Yeah.
you had like 15 healing every turn.
Nuts. There was just there was nothing that got rid of it. You could get rid of it, it goes back in the deck and just eventually comes back again. So yeah, that was frustrating. So Kingsbane is my number 4, number 5 rather. Zephyrus is my number 4, which is needs no further explanation. That card's just busted and dumb. Caverns Below also was already touched on, was my number 3.
Yes.
You might be noticing a theme here in terms of the class I dislike the most. This is Iron Fire's list. He's so salty. Listen, Kingsbane story. So pretty much every time Coles would have an 80 gold friend quest, he would play Kingsbane Rogue against me because he knew I would not play against him to take 80 gold, but I would hate my life for the entirety of the game. And I played knowing that he was playing Kingsbane Rogue like so many different decks against him and like never won. It didn't matter what it was. So
I mean, you know that it got bad at the point where people were doing the thing with the Gnome Faradu, like just to, like ooze Gnome Faradu, like just to burn it off the top. Like when you have to play 2 specific cards just for this one incredibly specific game state, like you know that it's a broken game state.
Oh, I know. My number 2 is Flesh Shaper. Again, needs no further explanation. And my number 1, because it has caused me to be swept twice in Hero Series, once this past week, is Blink Fox. I hate Blink Fox.
Wait, what? True. Okay, that actually makes sense.
So much fun.
No, that makes sense because of like the crazy stuff that you can pull off of it and stuff, you know, like just
the crazy stuff you can pull off it.
Yeah.
I lost last season of Hero to, I think it was Dirty Mike, where he pulled what's the 8 mana twin spell druid spell where you put
the Forest Aid, yeah.
Forest Aid, yes. He's a rogue that didn't have any sort of board flood, and all of a sudden he had it the turn before me. And I had no answer to it because I was a druid who has no board clears. Blink Fox can just go burn. I love it. It's such a good card and I hate it all at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's my list. We had another random rank that was suggested to us, viewer suggestion, from Diamond, and he wanted to know best team names. Best team names of all time. You don't have to give a full 5 or anything, but like just a couple top ones on your to your recollection. Icon, what do you think?
Ooh, okay. I have 2 that are my number 1 and number 2, and I know that. But off the top of my head, it's not HSA. I have to save the kind of HSA one for the end. Come back to me. Come back to me. I need to think of other ones.
Lotus, you got anything?
Sure. I love Abejas. I think it's a great name. The others I would add. So our team last time, BDSM, was hilarious. I really like that name. Yeah, that was such a fun team. And there was a special name for the roundtable, but that one was not allowed.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah.
Your teammates. Mako did not understand this appropriately. Let's see. I personally I don't. I'm always gonna be partial to Saturday Night Pain Gang just because I literally thought of it standing in line at Arby's. That's absolutely true story. 100% happened and believable. But I gotta think about it a little more. Icon, did you think of something?
I have two. I have two that stand out to me. One has got to be a TBH Jude. Because there's still nobody knows what it stands for, and we managed to anger an entire format for like 9 weeks or something like that, which was really fun. And then the other one is so HSA before they were BBYC in Hero. They or Silva at the time. They used to. They had a name that they tried to submit that got declined. It was high school alcoholics. And we were like, there's no way in good faith that we could accept that in any way, shape, or form. But man, if that was not like one of the awesomest names ever.
The what was the other Booty Bay one? We had two last season that were Booty Bay Yacht Club and Booty Bay. The other one was one of my favorite ones.
What was Are you thinking of a BB? Is it BBB or Triple B or whatever?
Boners,
No, B12.
Yes.
B12. Yeah, that one.
Booty Bay Boners. That was the one.
The funny thing is that a lot of the ones that like are really funny will never see the light of day because they've just been declined. Is the thing?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I have a name for next season that I hope doesn't get declined.
Yours is really good. I will say that.
We will see. We will see. I will not reveal anything unless you guys saw my DMs. We'll just pretend. We'll pretend. So, all right. So I think it's time to do a giveaway here. So,
all right. Do we have the wheel ready?
So you can't do the wheel in OBS. It has to be in Streamlabs. So
it's like a Nightbots thing, right? Where you like it's like a chat raffle or whatever.
Yeah. So I was just gonna use random number generator. You know, the classic way.
Are we in the raffle or are we eliminated?
I think that would be kind of jerk.
No, yeah,
to win the raffle.
Yeah, eliminate me. I don't need your packs.
Yeah, me too.
I pre-order both every season. I don't need it.
All right, you look at the lists, and I'm not looking at the list. I'm just gonna do a random number.
The viewer list, you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
So just take it from the top. So top user would be 1, and then we go down.
What if like electrical longboard and commander route like the Streamlabs bots win?
Yeah, that's true.
That we will probably reroll.
All right.
Or give it to them.
Gotcha.
So who's number 10?
Matt at Arms has won a bundle, dude.
Matt at Arms. He beats me in listener series, and then he gets a bundle.
Deserved it.
Congrats on playoffs, bro.
Deserved it.
Yeah, let's go, dude.
Well, I'll try to do my joke now. This is bananas.
If we get up to 50 viewers, we'll still do 2 more giveaways. So I mean, there's still time.
Listen, I can get you up to 50 viewers, but you're not gonna like how I get you up to 50 viewers, all right?
Don't make me question my life decisions. Twos feels about as outplayed as he does after he loses in Battlegrounds, which is a perfect segue because
dude, he segued for us. Oh my god!
Thank you, Twos. Yeah, we want to talk about Battlegrounds a little bit because that's that's the biggest news that came out of BlizzCon this past week. We all knew that we were getting a new expansion. That's not news. The specifics of it, of course, are. So Battlegrounds, we're kind of like split here evenly amongst the 3 of us. So Icon is firmly in the I could not care less about this camp. I didn't care about auto battlers. Lotus.
I will say that if it's like in the Hearth, like if it's free and it comes with Hearthstone, I don't really see a reason why I wouldn't at least check it out. I just, other than this, I literally only play like shooters and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of, my initial reaction was the same as you. I was like, listen, I haven't played any of these over the past year. Like, why would I start now? And then Cole said to me, well, you will once it gets tied to quests and progression in some way. And I had no answer to what he said, so he's probably right. And Lotus enjoys it. You said you've enjoyed the...
I really like it. I've been playing it for the last 2 days, and it is hilarious. It has a lot of randomness. It has a lot of cards that are not right now. But honestly, it's a ton of fun. If you're willing to just not be super competitive about it and just go through it with an attitude of, I want random stuff to happen. I want to have a bunch of 2020s on board out of nowhere. You'll have fun. That's the mindset I'm going through it.
You can get a bunch of 2020s on board right now if you just play Moku Warlock in Standard.
That is true. Well,
I've pulled it off once. It was
And you can lose 15 stars on ladder with it as
yeah,
well.
you can
That's why I
also
said
go
I
back.
pulled it off once.
Yeah.
At the Rancor.
Yeah, I think to me it's just a very relaxing mode. I'm kind of tired of ladder at the moment because certain 2-card combo is dreadful. Not going to say what it is. I'm going to leave it hidden.
Do the mortals become very squishy?
Yes, they do. They do. So anything related to that is kind of making me feel bored, and Battlegrounds is amazing for that. It feels fresh.
I'm curious how they try to turn it into an esports experience, because I saw a lot of discussion on CompHS about this, but I think that Hearthstone has like struggled for years to become a not a legitimate esport, but a sort of a top tier esport in the way that its competition works and how people sort of try to downplay the achievements of the competitors within it due to how the random factor works. And it seems like Battlegrounds has taken that to an extra level. So I'm very curious to see what people do to try and develop consistency within that at a high level, what a high level even looks like, and how people sort of try to measure different players in that game. I think that seeing what sort of systems come out from like the people surrounding the game and the community to like boost up that esports thing is something that could be really interesting.
I'm just curious if it's kind of this year's flavor, like Battle Royales were kind of the last 2 years. And before that was like what's the
what was before Battle Royale is a good question, because we've been in that era for a long time. It was MMOs before that, right?
I was gonna say it was like MOBAs, like League of Legends took off, and then you had
True.
Before that, you had CCGs as well.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying like these are types of games that like I know League still persists, but like people don't talk about MOBAs as much, and there isn't like 4,000 of them on the market like there was back then, and then they kind of die off, and then like Apex Legends was kind of like the end of the Battle Royale phase, I feel like, and then everything is kind of shifting over to auto battlers now. So I don't know if that's.
I mean, in terms of our universe, I would say yes. I think that as like people who persist in like sort of a CCG sort of mindset, I think that sort of the rise and fall of different CCGs and the return of auto battlers, or rise of auto battlers, that is, has been pretty prominent. I could talk about esports analytics for like hours, but yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Well, we'll have to schedule one of our hot topics to be an esports analytics segment for you then.
Yeah,
because I'm not about to take that away from you.
One thing to say for people who are curious about trying Battlegrounds, how it compares to other auto battlers, it's just very simple. My issue with all of them is that there are too many hidden abilities. I need to read too much to understand anything. Versus Hearthstone, it's just the cards you're used to, and at most you have 10 words in a card. So it's much easier to get into.
Yeah, I can definitely see the the draw of the simplicity there, and that tends to be kind of Hearthstone's draw in general. Is that we like they've simplified the cards a couple times, like the enrage mechanic, etc. I put simplified in air quotes because I don't necessarily think that was much simpler, but that's where their focus is anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, should be interesting. I'm sure I will at least fiddle around with it a little bit. And apparently, Hat, by the way, is in like the top 40 right now on it. He's pretty good. So shout out to Hat, doing his thing. So let's wrap everything up with the playoff preview. So, which series do you guys want to talk about first?
Do you want to do it just the way that we always do it, with Legacy Hero Pro?
That was what I was going to do.
And Challenger.
I actually don't have any Challenger tonight.
Aww.
Womp womp. Sorry, I ran out of time in the prep phase of things. And I figured we were going to be going over an hour anyway. But we'll be back for playoffs Challenger next week.
Challenger will be a challenge for next week.
Yeesh. So first half of Legacy, bringing up on your screen, will be Tap Last versus the Pod People, and then Dad Legend versus Dustubs. So just on paper, like Tap Last versus Pod People seems to be pretty heavily favored in the Tap Last direction. A 7-1 team versus a 3-5 team. They scored 29 more points during the regular season. Every single one of their players is at least a 500 record. So that's to me screaming, hey, this is Tap Last's match to lose. Is there a counter argument here? Do we have a feeling that Pod People can be the upset? That we know they're capable. Every player on the team is capable, but do they have a shot here against Tap Last? Lotus, I'll start with you.
So what I'm seeing here is Volkai. I expect Dyrus Bear to win just because of his record and PR. If assuming that happens, our hat is favored against Triz. Sorry, Triz, but I think that's true. So it will all come down to Zeroshio versus Base, because I think that's actually the match that really matters there. The other matches I expect Tap Last to take.
Yeah, I think Dyrus Bear has a very, very good shot at taking that 5 seed, and as you mentioned, Ridiculous Hat has a good shot at taking the 1 seed. It's everything in the middle that I think favors Tap Last. I personally think the whole thing hinges on Desharmo versus Shiny Pants, and Shiny Pants is a better player than that 3-3 and 210 PR indicates. So I know Desharmo won't sleep on anybody, but he should definitely be prepared for a hard fight, as he is not a typical 4 seed. I do not believe Shiny Pants is a typical 4 seed either. So that I think is the key to this series. Icon, what do you think about Tap Last versus Pod People?
I think it would be very hard to say that this isn't incredibly statistically favored towards Tap Last. That being said, there are a couple of people that could definitely pull off a couple of upset wins. Ridiculous Hat is certainly one. Direst Bear is definitely another. And then Shiny Pants, as you said, definitely not actually a 4 seed. I think that format matters a lot, and I think that he's had a lot of time to get used to playing Hero. But if somebody can show him a couple of things in Legacy, I think I would actually rate his match a little bit higher, and he definitely might be able to take Desharmo to 5 games. So I think in an optimistic world, Pod People puts up 2 wins. And I think in a more cynical world, I think Tap Last does the thing very, very, very efficiently, maybe with a 4-1 or a 5-0.
So we are all on the Tap Last advancing train here.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it's hard to argue with 7-1, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7-1's pretty good. So Dad Legend versus Dustubs is a much closer match on paper. Of course, point-wise, only 8 points separating the teams, and Dustubs a 6-2 record to Dad Legend's 5-3. So this is, if you look across the board here, Honest Zabe versus Shim Jim is a super powerful match. 2 551 seeds, 1 loss apiece on the season. So Myanodon versus Comp, another fantastic match. And then it starts to get a little bit hinky as we get further down. It's like Yellow Dart is better than 2 and 6, but this season he might just not be feeling it, And Osmonaut at that 4-4 clip. The Chronic is 4-4. He's been a consistently solid player, but mostly in the 5 seed. Now having a bit more of a average season, you would say, in the 4 versus Starlax. Turd Herder subbing in to play against Shunsui in the 5 seed for this match. So, Icon, what is your initial thought here? I don't think it's as obvious as Tap Last, and I have a feeling we might be split on this one.
This is a really cool matchup. Honest Zabe and Shim Jim is about as close of a matchup as you could ask for in terms of records. You've got a 6-1 playing a 7-1. Myanodon versus Comp is also a great match. And Starlax shouldn't be a 4 seed. That's really insane. Overall, I think that I would actually have to give it to Dad Legend. I think that Yellow Dart is really the only person that gives me pause for a second, and I think that he is much better than his record would indicate. Dad Legend has players that on their side where I could, wow, see, because I was gonna say Dad Legend has players where I could just like bet on them to win against anybody, but Shim Jim and Comp are that too. So this is definitely gonna be like a 3-2, 2-3 kind of match. Like, Zabe is 550 cap too. My gosh. If we're really looking at it, I think Shunsui takes the 5 narrowly. Starlex takes the 4. Oh my god! Wow, that you can't. All of them are like so close, dude. I don't know. I don't even know. I'm not sure if I can call this 3-2. I think.
How about you, Lotus?
Dad Legend.
The thought seeped out at the end there.
The half-hearted, yeah. I mean, like at that point, I just have to go with who I know more, and it's like I know Dad Legend more. So.
Our team played against Dead Legend last week. I think the Subs have a better team this season. As much as Dead Legend had an amazing season, I actually have to give this one to the Subs, but it will be a super tight match.
All right, so I'm gonna drop something right here. Dad Legend wins 4-1.
Cool.
They take the 1 through 4, and here's my reasoning. Honest Abe, as we're talking about, can no longer be underrated. Shim Jim also very, very good. I think that's a 3-2 series. It's a series I would love to see on stream, but I think Zabe takes over Shim Jim 3-2. Very, very tight. Myanodon versus Comp. So here's my thought for Myanodon. Comp is 0-2 in the last 2 weeks, and that has coincided with the new meta. So I don't think that he is loving the infusion of the new cards, and that has kind of jacked his style up a little bit. Myanodon has maintained his steady rate, and I think Myanodon will continue to get the job done. I see another 3-2 there. Yellow Dart, very underrated, and I don't think the 2-6 is indicative of his play. I think he gets the upset win over Osmonaut. And Starlax over the Chronic. The Chronic, like I said, he jumped up from the 5 seed to the 4 seed. He struggled a little bit, and Starlax is more used to that level of play in the 4 seed. I think he gets
Starlax is like a 2 seed or like a 1 seed. He played in Pro Season 0. He's playing against a 5 seed.
So, like no disrespect to to the Chronic or playing in the 5 seed, but I do think Starlax has the advantage there. So I think 1 through 4, Dad Legend sweeps it out, and then Turd Herder, if he can put up any points against Shunsui, that will be helpful. But I do have to think Shunsui is favored in that match, especially considering Turd Herder didn't play much Legacy this season. So that's my take on it. I think Dad Legend advances here.
Yeah, that seems really reasonable to me. I would definitely agree with that. I think that also something that you mentioned that makes a lot of sense is that that you said it, you just listed a different reason than me, is that Myanodon has been playing at that 2 seed or 1 seed level for his entire career. Comp went from like the 5 or the 4 or something like that up to here, so he's sort of just getting to that area, whereas like Myanodon has been sitting there the entire time, and so I think that would give him a little bit of an advantage, sort of fighting uphill from that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this is only half of Legacy's playoff picture. We've got
oh my God.
4 more teams. Yeah, man. 8 teams in the playoffs. Next up is a Noyo team versus the Roundtable. So a little bit less of a mismatch on paper than the first one we looked at, but Roundtable does have the advantage pretty substantially here. 142 points to 117, 6-2 record to 4-4. Yeah, this one.
Wow.
This one's another good one. Am I stealing your content, Amanda? We always talk about this stuff. We're not stealing anybody's content. Make sure to tune into Tavern Talk for more opinions on these matches tomorrow night. See, we're not stealing your content. We're actually leading into your content. See, much more in detail. Yeah, see, we're going fast. We're what is it? Zoom.
Go Speedy Zoom please.
Go Speedy Zoom please. That's what we're doing here to get through as much as possible. Lotus, you are involved in this match, so I'm going to let you lead off.
I am.
I have a feeling I know who you think is going to win, so why don't you talk us through it?
I mean, I really like the Roundtable. I think we're such a solid team. I'm very proud of what we've put this season, and I think this will be a great match. I'm excited to face the Noyo team. They've also had a great season. Dano versus Itachi is going to be crazy.
So good.
It's such a good match. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens here. I think we'll do our best, and I still think we're favored, but let's see what happens.
Well, Icon, I didn't think Lotus would tip too much of a hand here, but we can still predict. So, Lotus, what do you have to say? You got to say it to Lotus's face right now. So, what are you thinking, Icon?
I don't think I have to say anything to Lotus's face. I think his team is. Also, I'm gonna try to stop monologuing, so I'm gonna like speed through this. I think that the roundtable is like incredibly statistically favored. It's a 6-2 versus a 4-4. I think Lotus Knight should beat Nulltown fairly handily. Dano versus Itachi is actually really, really hype, and I think Dano is one of the few players on this team that I think could go toe to toe with Itachi, possibly take it to 5 games. Amaj versus Brick. I like Brick, but Brick has not done so well in me ever seeing him play. I think Amaj wins. Z-Thund definitely loses to Super Murloc. Matatarms definitely loses to Copper Talon. Overall, probably 4-1 round table. Maybe a little bit more if one of the Z-Thund or Matatarms can get an upset win. Overall, incredibly favored for round table. GG, Nori.
I think I don't know if we used up all Mad at Arm's luck because he won the pack bundle, but I don't think he's like dead in the water against Copper Talon. Like I said, I played against him in Listener Series. Another plug for Hat's Coin Concede podcast over there. You should check it out if you haven't already. But I played against him, and he played very solid. I didn't notice any mistakes in his game. Definitely played at a high level. So I think as far as writing him off against Copper Talon, Copper's a great player too. Spent a season as his teammate, and I know that he is very capable and he preps very well. But I don't think Mad at Arms is to be written off here in the 5 seed. That being said, Itachi versus Dano, I think, man, that's a tough call. Itachi's been doing it for longer here in THL, so I guess I got to give him the nod just on that. But I wouldn't be surprised with either outcome. Hey, so Hat subscribes with Twitch Prime for the second month after I shout out his podcast. There you go. Lotus, I do think you have the win over Nulltown, and I do think Super Murloc over Zethun. So I'm going to say the roundtable still does take this, but boy, is this a close one. So finally, last match we talk about here will be Dirty Mike and the Boys versus Wet Boys. So it's a boys match. Only the boys. 112 points for Dirty Mike, 143 for Wet Boys, 7-1 versus 4-4 in favor of the Wet Boys. So on paper, another one where the Wet Boys should be looking like a lock, but is there a path to victory here for Dirty Mike, Icon?
No, there's not. Obviously, should stomp Tony Montana. Dervis is Dervis. I think he beats Surlos. Surlos is a fine player, but it's Dervis. I see Finney wins over Jared Juggalo. Jared Juggalo is not having the best season. He tends to tilt a little bit, and yeah, it's not going to work out great. Brushy Tuna, really good in pro, absolutely popped off in pro. He's not a 6-2 Matty Ebbs, though it's a 2-6 fighting a 6-2. I would have to give it to Matty Ebbs. Quirky Turtle, holy mothers, 5-3. Lefty has 250 PR. I think if somebody's going to take a match, I think it's him. I see Finney and Lefty both win their matches. 3 wins go to Wet Boys. Wet Boys continues in typical Wet Boys fashion to the finals.
Lotus, do you agree?
Yeah. I think it all comes down to Brushy Tuna versus Maddie. I think that's the core match this week for them. And whoever wins that match takes the week.
I'd like to think it gets that far, but I don't know if it does, to be honest. I mean, Avi and Derivis have to be favored. They're both insane players, and Tony Montana and Surlos are good players too, but Derivis lost for the first time ever a few weeks ago in THL, and Avi wins consistently all the time, so have to imagine they're favored. Icy versus JR is a very tight match, and Icy has been on the rise. JR has been just kind of hanging out in the middle, not necessarily having a rough season, but not having the best one either. I guess I lean slightly towards Icy Finney. Brushy versus Matty Ebbs, boy, I don't know. I guess based on just this season, Matty would be the pick, but Brushy is a solid player overall. And then Lefty versus Quirky is interesting. Lefty, as is being pointed out, a 1 seed in Legacy and also a pro player, though he did not have the best pro season, unfortunately. Have to imagine that he's favored there versus Quirky. So I think it coming down to Brushy versus Matty Epps could in fact be correct, but I do think Wet Boys hangs on to advance. I'll say 3-2 in favor of Wet Boys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's it for Legacy. We're going to talk about Hero real quick, which if you tuned into Saloon last night, you would have gotten a preview of this, but we will take our own personal opinions and, make some content out of that. We'll ring that towel a little bit more. First match is Notorious B.I.G.'s versus Kells Boys. B.I.G. versus KGB. You laughing at me?
Yep.
So, BIGs, of course, I'm a little biased here, but we did suffer our first loss of the season last week to drop to 7-1. KGB is 4-4, so it's 145 points versus 114. Twos versus Donde is a big match. That is correct. Probably the biggest match of this slate here. Oh, and Lotus, you're involved again because you're just involved in every playoff match that exists. So, since Icon's the only one who's not extremely biased here, I'll let him start.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. BIGs versus KGB. So, wow. 7-1, man. That's difficult. Lotus Knight takes the 1. Donde takes the 2 and a 3-2. Jimmy's takes the 3. Really hard to argue with Anfall taking the 4. Crackshot takes the 5. 4-1 Notorious BIGs.
Lotus, I will let you have the first crack before me.
So I think me versus Simjim is going to be a solid match. I'm going to put my best game. I've been doing a good job in Hero, so who knows? Twos versus Donde. I have to give this to Twos. I love you, Donde, but I think Twos is a great player. He's having a killer season.
Boomer versus Zoomer match.
Booze has been very important for our team in many ways, and Booze has won his last 2 matches, so I think Booze is back and he will beat Jammies. Yeah, I also think Mako has a great chance. Mako has been playing pretty well in Hero this season, so I think our team wins.
So I will say that I am worried about Booze. He's on the rise. Jammies has struggled the last few weeks, but I think that we've got that ship righted, and hopefully Jammies can go ahead and get the W. I have no doubt on his technical ability, so I'm sure if we can just get him right with the prep that we'll be fine. 2-star versus Anfall is kind of blowing up the chat right now. Mako believes he's going to take
that's
the 4.
not as bad as it looks actually on paper.
No, it's definitely not as bad as it looks.
You see the 7-1 and you get a little scared, but actually that's not actually bad at all. If I were to pick a 4 seed to go against him,
Mako's about to play against the Hero MVP, so I got to go with Anfall. You can't math that. No, he's 7-1. He's MVP.
True. True.
I'm obviously picking myself to win because I'm not defeatist. So yeah, and I've got Crackshot winning over Turd Herder. Shim Jim's gonna beat Lotus Knight. He's a scrub. I'm not worried. I'm just Lotus. Love you, buddy. No, I think that we do get the win here. I hate the fact that we backed into the playoffs, but I think that we will win, and I will remain confident in my team to march on. So it should be a great match. Twos and I have been trying to get the post Tavern Talk slot if there is a capable cast team. So please let me know, Tavern Talk dudes, because we've been trying to make sure that we're available at 9 tomorrow. So if after Tavern Talk you want us on there, Donde versus Twos will be there for your viewing pleasure. Asa Dude versus Tap Last. So Tap Last playoff bound in both series, and this one's much closer, with Asa Dude actually being favored by record and points, 5-3 versus 4-4 with a 125 to 117 spread. Snake, Sanguine, Shiny Pants, Medusas, and Silver T-Fox Demon. That's a solid lineup, and 6-2 across the top 3 seeds. This is why I said you shouldn't sleep on Shiny Pants over in Legacy, because his hero season is quite strong. Snake versus TC Gamer. Gotta say Snake is probably favored, though TC Gamer came on strong in the last 6 weeks of the season after not playing the first 2. So I'm going to still say slightly favored towards Snake. Sanguine, I don't know much about Mad Eye MD. It looks like Mad Eye started playing late in the season in both series. But yeah, I think Sanguine has still got to be considered to be the favorite here. And then Shiny Pants versus Base. I think that one's deceptive, but Shiny Pants has hero figured out. So I think the top 3 all do go to a Dude. And do we know if Mr. Shads is playing at the 5, or is that? I thought he was getting subbed.
Yeah, we don't know. I'm in
who the
their
5
server
seed
and
is.
I've been like checking on that. It's currently like on like kind of a question mark.
Well, that's obviously even more of a question mark because we don't know who that's going to be, so it's hard to rate that. But I'm thinking a Dude gets out of this round here. It might be close, but I think they get the win. Icon, what do you think about this matchup?
I'm so biased here because I actually I spend probably more time in Sudded server than I do in maybe any other server on Discord period other than like my pro server. And so Snake I think definitely wins versus a TCG gamer. And I think that so Sanguine, fun fact about her, she is a 16-year-old girl who had never played in THL before and started out as a 4 seed, and she went from like having never even touched LHS to beating Liquid Ox and Lawful Dog and going 6-2. So yeah, I don't know. I think I predict her to win. She would definitely be my pick as well. Shiny Pants is a like older Alaskan dad with 3 kids, and since all of Sawdude are like children, he's like the dad to them. He's also 6-2. I predict him. Top 3 win. Medusa is I said this to Snake the other day. Medusa is actually goes by Starkey. He's legitimately like one of the most fun people that I've ever met in THL. He literally makes me laugh constantly, but he's not winning versus 8-bit. I love you, buddy, but no. And whoever's playing Silver, I think edges him out 2-3. There's it works better as an image, but there was a really good moment that happened the other night where Snake pinged everybody and said, "Do you guys want to scrim?" And Medusa said, "I'm napping," and Snake said, "It's 7 p.m." and Medusa's just responded with, "Money doesn't sleep at night." It was really 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 funny.
That's actually really fun.
I don't know. I love that kid. He's actually awesome. But yeah, Suddude takes it over Tablas 3-2. I think 8-bit and Mr. Shads win, and then the top 3 for Suddude win.
Lotus, so we seem to be in of the same mind here. Are you in agreement with us as well?
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. I think Asudud is going to win because of their top.
All right.
Also, just one
All right.
One quick shout out to women in esports, since that has been a thing this week, and that is very nice.
That's is it like a celebration this week particularly?
Oh, is that? Oh yeah, because of Lion. No, because Lion
Yeah,
too.
because of Lion.
Oh yeah, yeah. Big shout out. Lion. That was an impressive run for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, big news to have the first woman to win a major Hearthstone.
I think it was a major esport event, right?
Major esport event.
No.
It was just Hearthstone.
It was like a card. It was like a card gaming thing, but no, it's not. It's not a major esport event.
Okay.
Yeah, women have done a decent amount in terms of stuff like that. Like you've got Geggery from the Overwatch League. You've got the female CCS League. You've got the CLG Red winning some events. But yeah, it's definitely a huge achievement for CCG stuff in general.
Very cool. So our last hero matchups are going to be the Minutemen versus the Cult. We'll talk about that one first here. So that's 4-4 Minutemen versus 5-3 the Cult. Very, very tight here, 119 to 121 spread. So you might as well just flip a coin, I think, here on most of these matches. Coles versus Avi. I love you, Coles, but you don't have as much experience in hero as Avi does. And a 4-4 season for him is very beyond the pale, and I think he gets the win. Smoked Salmon versus Itachi. That's tough. Itachi, I guess. I mean, he probably won't.
It's very hard to bet against him.
He probably won't do it very fancy or cool because he's just a lame dude, but he'll probably win, I guess, maybe. And then Big Ted versus Liquid Ox. Man, I think Big Ted gets the upset there. I think I'm gonna say the Cult takes 4 of the 5. Mr. Newt takes it over Shibaka. That's the one that the Minutemen get.
Yeah, I would actually probably not disagree with you about that in any way, despite Liquid Ox being one of my best friends in THL. Um, it's so hard to like bet in favor of like Ox after he says, "Yeah, Hero is just my practice and my warm up for Pro." So I don't know, dude. He's like, "Yeah, I just sort of like submit my decks. I roll a wheel to decide what classes on decks I'm gonna play, and then I just play those and I win."
That's also not
And
true.
yeah, I mean, I actually have no idea how much he tries, so I actually think like the cult going all out would take this, honestly.
Yeah, the Cult is a very experienced team. The Minutemen, based on the name, they were put together very quickly, and to even make the playoffs is an achievement. But the Cult is a well-oiled machine. Quaz is a great captain who's gonna have them ready to play, and they know what it takes. They know what it takes to win a championship. So the Cult has to be favored, and I think that it'll show in the results this week. Lotus, any differing opinion there?
No, I think I agree. I think the cult is favored. We played them last week. They're a solid team. Everyone's playing well. Yeah.
All right, and our final hero match is Tanpam's Surf Slam versus Bees. So Tanpam 3-4-1, Bees 7-1, and 0, I guess technically. 106 points for Tanpams versus 141 for the Bees. So on paper, Bees looking like the favorite. They did get a big win over the BIGs last week, so that is cool. If you like that sort of thing, which maybe you do if you're lame. So Rod Mexico versus Lefty in the 1 seed, Dirty Mike versus Jayak in the 2, Brushy Tuna versus Mata in the 3, Ozma versus Pond in the 4. Ozma versus Pond in the 4. What? I feel like Gru right now. It's me Mike V versus Copper Talon in the 5. I just didn't know that Pond and Ozma were both 4 seeds. I guess that's kind of insane, but sure.
Yeah.
I think this one's interesting because all of the records themselves are very tight. Like, there's a 5-2, a 6-2 on the B side. Brushy Tuna is 5-3 over for Tanpam. So it's like there's no massive difference in the individual records, but yeah, I think, is that misleading? Icon, you seem to have an opinion based on the noise you just uttered. What do you think's happening
Yeah,
here?
so I think that like individual record is one thing, but when you win and when you lose as a team is really telling. And I think that Bees has shown that when they go down, they go down together, and when they win, they sort of make sure that most of their players are sort of taking things home. And so I think that according to that, I would actually predict 5-0 in Bees' favor. I know that that's a bold prediction, but I mean, we gotta make predictions like that. I think Bees actually stomps. I think full sweep for Bees.
All right, all right. Lotus, could you possibly
I
agree
don't
with
think
a sweep?
I don't go for the swamp. I think it will be Bees will win. I don't think it will be a stomp. I think it will be a 4-1 or 3-2.
Yeah, 4-1 still kind of a stomp.
Well, I thought you meant a 5-0.
Sure, yeah.
I'm trying to see where I think Tanpams might be favored, and I think Brushy over Mata might be a possibility. Dirty Mike versus Jayak might be a possibility as well. Dirty Mike is better than that 3-5 record indicates as a hero player for sure. So I think that there's a possibility. I think let's put it this way. I think if Tam wins, it's a 3-2. I don't think it's going to be a stomp in their direction versus the Bees, and I know I'm not breaking any ground by saying that with the spread of the record and whatnot. But Lefty is capable of getting the job done. Ron Mexico is having a fantastic season though across the board, and would have to say that Ron Mexico is probably favored there. So I'm gonna say Ron in the 1. I'm gonna say Dirty Mike with the pseudo upset in the 2, and Brushy Tuna over Mata in the 3. Copper Talon gets the win in the 5, and I think it all comes down to Ozma versus Pond, and I just don't even know. I will.
You don't?
I guess I gotta put it to Pond.
I would
right?
think with like Pond stomping his way to a legacy championship, and like he's 4-4 right now, but I think that the results are.
But legacy doesn't always translate over to hero. I mean, you can
but level
of
play does, and seed that you play at actually does, I think. And so I think somebody who can consistently compete against high 500s and 1 seeds is going to be better than somebody who's like 4-4 across multiple series and like the 4 seeds. So I don't necessarily think that they're unevenly matched, but I just think that Pond is much better prepared for a match of this caliber than Osmonaut in this specific context.
I do think push comes to shove that Bees get the win. I just don't think it'll be as much of a stomping as you predicted. So I will say 3-2 with Ron, Pond, and Copper getting the wins for the Bees. So that leaves us with the main event tonight, and that is the Pro Series Finals. And that's Propane Gang versus FTL. One team that everyone had kind of predicted to get there, despite their slow start, was FTL. Propane Gang, I don't believe anybody predicted really to be. I mean, I think we predicted them to be at least a playoff contender, but in the finals, who knows? Mako's deck is up now. Kungmar. Yes, people predicted a social ban. Oh boy.
I think that was like the only thing I said. I said if what do you call it? If Top Hat didn't get himself banned, then they would go pretty far.
And he didn't, and he's their 1 seed somehow.
Yeah.
This is fun. I want to tell you the thing that I'm rooting for here. And I mean this. I mean this in no disrespect to you, Icon.
That's okay.
I'm rooting for a Propane Gang win and for Darkside to be 0-8, because I think that would be the greatest story, is to have a player on your team be winless and yet you still win the championship.
I said that to my team the other day. I was like, the fact that they like went 5-3 and made playoffs and then made it to the finals while basically starting off at 0-1 every single week is kind of impressive. You know, I don't know. I definitely don't mind that. I don't know. If nothing else, this is gonna be a fun match. Actually, I really enjoy like playing finals versus Darkside and stuff, and I think that. I don't know. It should be fun no matter what. This is a good vibes matchup.
Absolutely.
I'm really hyped for this.
And as of right now, we have 2 of the matches guaranteed to be on stream, which is great. Itachi and Ridiculous Hat and Liquid and Mako are the other one, I believe. So Liquid and Mako would be Sunday at 8 p.m. Ridiculous Hat versus Itachi would be 9 p.m. So it's very possible that it comes down to the 8 and 9 p.m. matches on Sunday. So tune on in. We're still trying to gather together which casting team we're going to have for that match, but we should be able to get something going. LOL 8 p.m. We play at 10 a.m. What? Maybe I have your game confused with Fuel and Top Hat.
Yeah, it's probably that one.
There's
Here, let me check the scheduled matches channel in my Pro Discord. And
Dark and Jet. It's Dark and Jet. That's 8 p.m. That's correct. Nope, Ridiculous Hat is correct. All right.
Ooh, Dark agreed to go on stream. That's actually kind of cool.
I mean, it's the last game of the season. Can't hold anything back now, right? So.
Yeah.
All the casters at once or Riot. So we'll have Dark versus Jet at 8. We'll have Itachi versus Ridiculous Hat at 9. Barring an early sweep in one direction or the other, at least one of those matches will be pertinent. So we're gonna get 10 a.m. Eastern. What day?
I think it'll actually like I think it's fair to say that Sunday. Nobody's gonna like early sweep one way or the other, you know? Like I think those are definitely gonna end up being pertinent. Like I don't see a world where like either one of us, like as much as I want to like hype up my team, PPG is going to put up a great fight, and I don't expect that like anybody's gonna stomp one way or the other.
Mako, if I wasn't going out of town on Sunday, I would absolutely be down for the 10 a.m. stream, because I'm usually up that early anyway. Or early, in quotes, but like early and conscious and ready to stream at 10 a.m., but I unfortunately cannot do it this week due to some real life stuff going on. But I think Fuel has had kind of a down season in everything except for Pro. Does he have the juice for one more match against Top Hat? I think so. Kungmar versus Snake. I think this is a deceptive one. Snake is going to put up a fight at the very least versus Kungmar, but Kungmar's only loss is a Derivis. I don't know if I can say that Kungmar will lose.
Snake has a very, very, very specific secret weapon that if they play on stream, you will get to see. And if he didn't have that, he's my boy, and I don't know if I would in confidence vote for him, but he actually has a very specific secret weapon that he's gonna... Yeah, I think he's going to crack out at the last second, and I think you guys will be very surprised.
I have no idea how to feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
When you know, you'll know. That's all I'll say.
Lotus, what do you think happens in this match?
I think in this match, Fuel is having a crazy season. I think he takes it. It's very hard to bet against him. I think Kungmar is going to beat Snake. I think Mako versus Ox is a surprisingly balanced match, but I do gotta give it to Ox. He has been grinding open cups. Versus I
Wait, he
don't think
has?
Mako.
He talks on our pro channel all the time, and he doesn't mention the open cups. What? That's
Wait,
actually
he
strange.
hasn't? I
No,
thought
he
he
doesn't
was.
talk.
Maybe
He
I'm
just.
wrong. Maybe I'm mixing him with some. Oh no,
I
I'm
want to
mixing
say
him with
he
Skittles.
he ladders like a madman, but
Yeah, he ladders a lot. I mix him with Skittles. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
he was like top 10 legend with like Quest Hunter or something like that. Like the other week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but I do think he wins because he does ladder a lot. And yeah, I think Hat versus Itachi is another great match. My guess is Hat wins, and I think Jetlaw beats Darkseid for that 0-8.
Yeah.
So I think this actually does come down to the final match with Itachi versus Ridiculous Hat on stream, which is
Yes.
great theater. And
Yes.
I'm gonna say Fuel, Kungmar, 2-star, Jetlaw, and then it's Ridiculous Hat versus Itachi. And I'm going to put my money on our hat. I think he just told me his deck lists are spice, and I want a second to reconsider my thought.
Too late.
I will just say that I'll be transparent about this. I think I've said it, mentioned in Pro Chat once. Itachi puts out enough prep. Like I don't understand how he's 3-4. You know, like if I were to pick somebody to be 6-2, I would probably pick Itachi. He literally like there were weeks when like during our because we did go 3-4. I won't pretend like we didn't. There were weeks where we just sort of had really mediocre weeks, and during those weeks when people like weren't around and people like had really like busy stuff to do, Itachi would just plan out these in-depth like insane strategies for everybody's lineup. He'd be like, you're playing this, and this. You are like you're going to be like shielding this. You're going to be banning this. This is the matchups you're going to want to watch out for. This is the card choices that you should use. And he would just do that for like 3 to 4 people in depth every single week with like no comment or anything. Just absolutely go crazy. And if it's coming down to a game 5, which I'm definitely okay with it being like that. I obviously want my boys to 5-0, but it would obviously be a good storyline for it to come down to the final match. I'm always going to put my money on Itachi, honestly, versus anybody. So you knew what I was going to go already, but I mean that's my
you might have
explanation of
talked
it.
me into it. You might have honestly just talked me into it.
Yeah, like did we ever post the thing that he did for Fuel? With the I think I might have put it in the main Pro Series chat, but we have this Jetlaw has a custom chart system that he uses. I won't say anything more about it than that, but he has a custom chart system that he uses, and Itachi put together.
Does not have a custom chart system that we use.
That is true.
I mean, I would say that there's a handful of people that use that, but yeah, it's more common nowadays than not, I would say. But he did a matchup spread for Fuel, and he picked his he like picked all of his decks and his classes and stuff for him, and Fuel had the lowest Fuel overall win rate Fuel had versus the lineup was 53%, and that was across all classes. So like he had just 55%, 60%, 50%, 60% across the entire thing. It was just a wall of green. I think it was the most impressive prep thing that I've ever seen a player do. It just blew my mind, and we were all like awestruck by it for like a week straight. So I'm just telling anecdotes at this point, but yeah, if that doesn't make you scared of that guy, I don't know what does, you know.
So here's my final decision. I had picked Ridiculous Hat. You talked me into Itachi. My final pick is Ridiculous Hat because I want the beef with Itachi to maintain its spicy Szechuan level of beef.
Oh yeah.
So I'm riding the Hat train. Let's go Hat. 2-1 win for Ridiculous Hat in the finals. It comes down to game 3. I'll take the right choice for the wrong reasons. That's my pick. Propane Gang takes it. Darkside goes 0-8. Unicorns, show ponies. Where's the beef?
Oh yeah.
Any last second thoughts on this before we sign off for the evening?
I'll only say that this match is bananas.
No doubt, no doubt.
There you go. We got it in there.
Cool. So this is late second hour HearthCenter, by the way. This is where we're at now when we are starting to push up on 11 p.m. But thank you to everybody who stuck with us. We're at almost 20 viewers somehow in deep into our second hour, which is fantastic. So I love the Brooklyn Nine-Nine references. I know you guys do. I know you do. So I'm tired. That was a long stream.
Yeah.
But that was good. It was fun to do for our 1 year anniversary, which we will try to do an anniversary show maybe closer to the actual anniversary. Crazy, I know. Next year, but we'll see what happens. We didn't make the 50 viewer mark, so unfortunately there will be no second giveaways. You didn't call enough of you boys to get down here to get the giveaway, so maybe next time. We tried this once. So if I got 50 viewers, I was going to do the worm on stream, and we didn't get to 50. We got to like 30 something. So, yeah, that didn't happen either, but whatever. So, thank you for the sub at the last second there, Lotus.
Yep.
If anybody has not subbed, we really appreciate it. It will help us do more giveaways in the future and keep the content quality very high. But other than that, thank you guys for coming out tonight. As always, we really appreciate it. We will hopefully have the winner, a winner from the Pro Series on next week, and it might just be Icon, who the hell knows, because he's already here every week anyway. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, focus on Pro. See, we focus on Pro. I didn't read up. Trish says the Stratus hat focuses only on Pro. So yeah. All right. So thank you guys for showing up. As always, good luck in your matches this week, and we will see you next week with our finals wrap-up for Pro, and we'll go ahead and do the second round of the playoffs for Legacy and Hero too. So thank you all. Have a great night, and we will see you next week.
See y'all.